Hello and welcome to a how to play video for Date Drop. This is a game for 2 to 6 players, ages 10 and up. The goal of the game is to be the first player to pack your boxes of dates. To set up the game, take this blue deck of cards and give it a good shuffle. Then give each player one of these green boxed cards. I'm going to be showing you an example of a 2-player game. All players start with one green box card. And on the card, you can see what dates are needed to fulfill that box. Let's take a close-up look at one of these green boxed cards. So it starts by telling me which dates I need and how many of them I need to fill that box. It reminds me that the hand limit is 6, so once you start collecting cards in your hand, you can only have 6 at a time. For a 2 to 3 player game, you start by filling one green box, followed by another green box, then followed by a purple box. And the first player to fill all those boxes wins the game. For 4 or more players, you're only filling one green box, followed by a purple box. And again, the first player to fill their box first wins the game. Let's say that this is the first player, and they're trying to collect these dates. They begin by flipping a card from the deck. Now at this point, they can decide whether to stop their turn and collect the cards they've already flipped, or continue. If they flip a duplicate card, their turn ends and they get nothing. So it's a push your luck game. That's helpful. That's actually something they want to collect. I think I'll keep going. So now I'm deciding whether to keep going or to stop. Let's risk it and go one more. And lucky for me, they're all different. I'm going to stop there and collect these dates. So now I've got all those dates in my hand plus my green box, but just to note that it's only the dates that count towards my hand limit, not the box itself. And this also can't be taken by another player. Now it's the second player's turn, and we're going to start by flipping dates from the deck. So I don't need that one. I don't need that one. I do need that one. I'm going to risk it and try one more. Oh, unlucky. So because the second player has pulled a duplicate card, all those cards get discarded, and that's the end of the second player's turn. So now it's the first player's go again. They start flipping cards from the deck. Don't need that one. I already have that one. I'm going to flip one more. Oh, and it's a date drop card. So when this is played, each player may shout date drop, then grab only one face-up card. This card itself can't be grabbed. And this applies to any card that has already been flipped. So if this was the first card to be drawn, it wouldn't apply because there's no prior cards to take. Let's say the first player grabs this one and the second player grabs this one. As there have been no duplicate cards, the first player can continue flipping. Let's say that the first player is very keen to fill their box, so they keep going. And now they've hit a duplicate date drop. That means their turn ends and all these cards get discarded. The fact that this is the second date drop is more important than doing the action on the date drop. So if there's a duplicate card, that immediately ends that turn and all those cards get discarded. So now it's the second player's go, and before every player's turn, they have the option to play an ability from their hand. If he wanted to, he could play this card, shout. Play from hand, shout out a type of date. Each player must give you one of it, if they have any. So he could do that, but he actually needs this card for his box. So with that in mind, he'll just start flipping cards. Don't need that one. I do need that one. I'm going to risk it and try another one. Unlucky, he has to discard all of those cards, and his turn ends. Now it's the first player's go, and they actually have a lot of abilities to choose from. They don't need this date for their box, so they could, for example, shout out this. They might have forgotten what other players have, or they might remember. Let's say, for example, the first player has forgotten what the second player picked up, and they shout out the one that they need, which is Deglet. Nobody has that card, which means this just gets discarded, and they can start flipping cards from the deck. That was lucky. That's the final date he needs, so he'll collect that one. And he can complete that box. When he completes the box, he takes the dates from his hand and he discards those. And then this box is complete. In a 2-player game, you can see that the next box to fill is another green box, so he takes another green box from the deck of green boxes. Let's say he picks up this one. So now these 2 are in his hand. It's the second player's turn, so they could again use their ability, but because they need it, they'll just start flipping cards. So the second player starts flipping, and they need quite a lot of dates, so they might go quite adventurous here. Risk it and go one more. And they'll stop there and collect these cards. Now it's the first player's turn. This one doesn't have an ability, so they start flipping cards. And they need a lot of dates, so they're just going to risk it and see what they get. And they'll stop there and collect these. With collecting those dates, in fact, the first player has managed to fill their second green box, so they discard the dates that are for that box, and they're going to pick up a purple box card. This is what a purple box looks like, so there's a few more dates to fill up. If they fill this box before the other players fill their boxes, they win the game. So now it's the second player's go, and they've got a few abilities to choose from, including this. Peek, play from hand, peek at the top 3 cards, return them to the top in any order. So they'll discard this card if they want to use that ability, and they'll take the top 3. These are all unique cards, so they might as well just flip those and keep them. Now they're going to decide whether they're going to risk it and flip one more. They're going to risk it and try for one more. And that's the last date that they need for their green box, so they're going to collect those. They're going to find these dates from their hand and discard them. Then they take a second green card and they start trying to fill that. It's now the first player's turn. They have a grab card, so they could play this and try to grab a random card from another player. If they play it, they discard it. But this second player has actually got a cancel card, and it cancels a played ability. It can't be used on another cancel. So they actually have 2 to choose from, and because this one is not needed for their box, they would play this one. And that means that the first player can't grab a card from their hand. Now it's the first player's turn to flip cards. So they start flipping cards from the deck, and they've got a few to collect, so they're going to play a bit risky, and then they'll stop there and collect these cards to their hand. Now it's the second player's go. They've got this grab ability, so they could play this and randomly choose a card. Let's say they get this one. Then they start flipping cards from the deck. They're going to try one more, and they'll stop there and collect those cards. They're up to their hand limit of 6 dates, but if they had taken more, they would just need to discard down to 6 cards. Now it's the first player's turn. They do have this ability, but because they need that date, they might decide to not use it and start flipping cards. Let's say they decide to stop there because they need that one for their box. They collect these to their hand, and it's now the second player's turn. Let's say that the second player decides to use this ability, Shout, and they call out the one they need, which is the Halari. This player has got a Halari, so they have to give it to this player. Then the second player will start flipping cards. But before they flip cards, in fact, they've actually completed this box, so they're going to discard the dates for that box, and they're going to get themselves a purple box card. This is their purple box card, and it tells them what they need to complete. And if they finish this before the other player, they will win the game. So let's say they start flipping cards, and they're going to stop there and collect these ones. It's now the first player's turn. They have a shout card, so for example, if they shouted out the name of a date that they need, like Deglet, they would then discard this card from their hand. And if the second player decided to cancel it and play this, that would cancel that shout ability for all the players. In this case, it's just a 2-player game, but if there were more than 2 players, it would cancel the shout ability for all the players. Let's say they decide to play this. It gets discarded. Now the first player can continue flipping cards. The first player goes first. They decide to play conservatively and just collect that card. Now it's the second player's go. They might choose to play one of their grab cards, grab a random card from the other player. So they discard that. The first player has to offer up their cards randomly. Let's say the second player just takes this card. Now they're ready to start flipping cards from the deck. So they start flipping from the deck. They just need a Halawi to win. They flip another, and lucky for them, they got all the dates they need and they win the game. I think that this is a brilliant and original family-friendly game that anyone can learn. If you're interested in getting your own copy, the link to the Kickstarter will be in this video's description.